Listen up, you gamblers. This is the video for you.
Welcome to Full Court Press. This is where we ask the pressing questions going around the NBA. I'm back again with Charlie and Fadmir, and we're giving you guys another video on the betting odds, starting off with the Southwest Division. The Southwest Division, that division's looking pretty rough. They got some teams in the bottom of the barrel in the West, and it's just a lot of things are going on and off the court with those teams. But we're going to start off with the best team in that division, the Memphis Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are projected to get 45.5 wins for the regular season this year. They let go of a key locker room piece in Dylan Brooks, the dance leader. And with that being said, I honestly think that the Grizzlies are going to get over 45.5 wins this season. The Grizzlies, outside of Dylan Brooks, they added Marcus Smart and they added Derrick Rose.
D-Rose.
So shout out to D-Rose. He's going back to Memphis. He played there in college.
See if you could straighten John Morant out, dude. Said he's coming to lay down the law. He's not coming to babysit. He's coming to fucking make him better, dude.
Okay.
Honestly, he even said it in a small interview. It's hard to have two players who have similar play styles, like one mentors the other and kind of teaches him like how to take care of his body or even just how to be better overall. So I think that could be a great mentor and student type of relationship between them. But I'm taking the over on the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are still one of the best teams in the West, especially in the regular season. They've yet to prove that they can make a deep run. They've always been in there with some of the top teams. So I think that they can easily get over 45.5. I honestly think it's kind of a low ball.
I'm gonna go with the under, and there's a couple reasons why. It's not that I think they'll get like much under. I think they'll probably be around 45 wins, but John Morant's out for 25 games. I don't really trust Marcus Smart to be your primary point guard, at least not with that team. Because like on Boston, he was a solid point guard, but he also had like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Those guys can like actually create for themselves. On the Grizzlies, do you expect Desmond Bane to create for himself? Do you really expect Jaren to be creating for himself? Not really. It's not exactly their roles. Ja's the one creating for them. Derrick Rose, I do like the pickup of Derrick Rose. I think he'll be a solid backup point guard. But one thing that's really big with the loss of Dylan Brooks is there's a big hole in the forward position now. So they're going to have to rely on either Zaire Williams, who hasn't really shown much at all in his 2-year career so far, or sophomores Jake LaRavia or David Roddy to be the starting small forward unless they want to run small, which that creates another problem. So with Ja missing 25 games, I don't really see their two better players in Bane and Jaren to be able to step up that much. And overall, I think their roster has some flaws that they still really haven't addressed.
I agree with Fatmir. I think I'll hit the over, but I think it's gonna be right around like 45, maybe 46. I don't think they have I think the addition losing Brooks and getting Smart, I think it's just honestly an upgrade. It's like the same player, but Smart is better.
He's smarter.
He's okay.
Good one.
Yeah, I mean, D-Rose is a good pickup. I mean, I think the last few seasons, their record without Ja is better than their record with. Or either way, they
also had Tyus Jones too, and Tyus Jones is honestly like a great point guard.
He's a good backup,
bench, so like he could still be playmaking for them. So, but they don't really have that this year.
Yeah, I feel like they played well without Ja before. We'll see if they can adjust. I'm not really worried about them, like whoever they start as small forward, just because a lot of teams run small ball now anyways. And they would still have Steven Adams, who's 7 foot, and Jaren Jackson, 6'11". So I'm not super worried about that, but I'd see their over-under being literally like, they're going to be at like 44 wins at 46. So like it's going to be right there.
Speaking of Steven Adams, reports, I believe, came out a couple months ago that he really isn't that close to being back either. So I think he's also missing time for the beginning of the season.
Moving on to the team with the best player in the division and arguably a top 5 player in the league, the Dallas Mavericks. They got Luka and they got Kyrie. This duo had some struggles in the second half of the season last year, but they also didn't have a lot of time to really make things work. Their over and under is 45.5 wins. This one I think is going to be more, it's tougher for them to make the over on this. I'm personally going to take the under on the Mavericks, and that hurts me to say because I love Luka and Kyrie a lot. And this team, I want them to succeed. I just don't know if they have the pieces to do so. In their trade with Kyrie, they gave up a lot of their good wing pieces, some good defenders too. So I want them to do better, but I think 45.5 is kind of steep, especially in the West. So I'm going to take the under on the Mavericks.
I'm also going to take the under on the Mavericks. I do think that they're going to be better than they were last season. And I think that Kyrie and Luka are locked in, but overall their roster, the defense still looks pretty bad, even with the addition of Grant Williams. I believe Mark Cuban said they might be starting their rookies this season, Derek Lively and I think his name is pronounced Olivier Maxence Prosper. Not sure. I hope that's pronounced correctly. But they're going to be playing their rookies pretty heavily, so they're going to be relying on a lot of the younger guys. And overall, it doesn't really seem like the problems of the roster from last year were really solved, aside from like picking up Grant Williams and I guess Rashawn Holmes. It's really just the same roster for the most part, and so I think the defense is going to hold them back from being able to get over that.
Yep, I'm taking the under. I've said before I'm not a fan of the Mavericks team. I like Luka and Kyrie, but I don't think they're a good duo together. Adding Williams isn't going to help much. Unless they have like another blockbuster trade, I don't see how this team's going to get much better. The only thing I'll say is someone to watch out for if he does get more minutes is Jaden Hardy. I think he's pretty good. I think he could be, if he's a 6-man kind of guy, he could be up for 6-man of the year. But that's like one of their bright spots, I would say. But I'm definitely hitting the under.
All right, moving forward to another team with quite a bright future in terms of their young stars, the New Orleans Pelicans. Their over and under is 44.5 games. All right, so with the Pelicans, to me, it all depends on if Zion's going to play this year or not. Mm-hmm. I have stated that I think either this year or next year, whenever his contract is coming up, he's going to have a healthy year to finally prove people wrong and show people that he still has what it takes. Link to that video is up here for you guys that want to watch it. Cannot give up on Zion Williamson just yet. I'm taking the over on the Pelicans. I think Zion's going to play. We've seen what this team can do when their entire roster is healthy, and even when Zion doesn't play, they're still a competitive team. They still have Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum, and a lot of guys that have a lot of heart. And I like the Pelicans roster with Zion playing. I don't see why they can't go over 44.5.
I'm taking the under again. It's 3 unders in a row. From when I've been looking at the teams, I've honestly been predicting that the Pelicans are going to miss the playoffs completely this year. So I don't believe they'll be able to get over 44.5 wins. I think they'll probably end up in the play-in, which will be less than that, and I think they lose there. So, especially with, I don't think Zion's going to be healthy this season again. I think like max will give you 50 games.
That's 50 wins right there.
That's got to be more than he played last year, though, right?
Oh yeah, I think so. Right. And then Trey Murphy's also going to be missing time at the start of the season because he got injured during the offseason with, I believe, either it was something in his knee or his Achilles, so he'll be missing some time. They drafted Jordan Hawkins. I don't expect him to make that much of an impact early on, especially with how little impact Dyson Daniels had last year, who was also a lottery pick. And in general, they really didn't get anyone in the free agency. I mean, they got Cody Zeller, but like, it's Cody Zeller. So it's kind of the same team. They're just running it back, which makes sense, but I don't think they're going to be healthy. So I think they miss the playoffs this year.
I think it's going to be very close to 44.5, but I'm going to hit the over with a healthy Zion.
Let's go.
They were the number 1 seed whenever he was healthy, pretty much. So I think the team has the chemistry. They haven't changed up much. Obviously, if Zion's not there, I still think they would be a good team. Like Alvin said, obviously, the over for that without Zion would be tough to say they'll hit it. But, I like the team. There are a lot of young, hungry guys. And a dude I would say to step up if Zion were to go out again is Herb Jones. I think Herb Jones he played his role very well last year, and I think he has room to expand on that if there were extended time without Zion. So I'll hit the over with a healthy Zion.
All right. And that'll take us back to Texas with the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets added Fred VanVleet and Dillon Brooks to their young roster. Does make them better. Their over and under is 31.5 games. This, to me, is tough because we know that they're not going to be like a playoff contending team. They're not going to be that great of a team, but it's like, that's like a healthy amount of games for them to win or even do better, slightly worse. I'm personally going to take the under on the Rockets. It's probably just going to be by a game or two, but the additions of VanVleet and Dillon Brooks will help that team out. Dillon Brooks seems to be meshing well with these young guys. I think that it's just another Memphis for him, just a few more people that like to have fun. The Grizzlies, they like to have fun, but there are a couple guys that took things more seriously. I think Dillon Brooks can have a bigger role with this team as well, just because there aren't as many stars compared to the Grizzlies or bigger names. But I still don't think the Rockets are going to be good at all, so I'm going to take the under.
I'm going to take the over on this one. I don't think they'll be like outstanding or anything. I think they'll be like probably around like in the mid-30s for wins, but I think it'll be like good enough to get the over. They did add Dillon Brooks and Fred VanVleet. They added Jeff Green too, which is always a nice role player to add. They did end up losing KPJ because of his incident, so that's a pretty big loss, honestly, because he was a good player. But I like what I see with this team. Amen Thompson looks amazing. I'm expecting a big jump for Jalen Green this season. I'm excited to see what Jabari Smith Jr. does as well. I'm also expecting him to look a lot better because he struggled for majority of the season last year up until I want to say like the back half of it. They also have an actual coach this year. Last year, they were probably known as one of the teams playing AAU ball with the way they ran. They really didn't have an offense. It was just shot chucking between KPJ and Jalen Green. I think Ime is going to be able to actually lock them down as a team and make them run an actual offense and actual defense and look a lot better. I'm excited to see how they use Alperen Sengun in the offense potentially, how they're going to run their team in general. But I think no matter how they really run it, I can't really see them being that much worse, especially with the talent they added and how I project their young guys to end up going.
I'm actually not disgusted with this team's roster. Like, I think they got a good balance of young guys and vets. I just don't think there's any room for them to be winning games in the West, so I'm going to go with the under. Fatmir made a lot of good points about their young players. I see a lot of them having better seasons and then adding guys who are older, especially Green. Jeff Green is like a very underrated pickup for a team like that because he'll get all of those guys in the right mindset. I have no complaints about the roster's makeup. It's just, I just don't see there being any room for them to be successful in the West. So.
That's a good reason. I mean, the West is the most competitive conference, so it's tough to win games, especially with a young squad. That'll take us to the last team in the Southwest Division, another young squad who has the most hyped-up prospect since LeBron James, the San Antonio Spurs, and Victor Wembanyama. Their over and under is 29.5 games. And again, just like the Rockets, I think that's a solid over-under for them. Wembanyama's hyped up, but I don't think he's going to do much his rookie year in order to really take that Spurs team over. Not him individually, but that team really doesn't have...
Hype train over here, this guy.
The Spurs overall, they don't have too many huge players outside of Wembanyama that can really be stars. Devin Vassell looks really nice. Jeremy Shohan, I don't think he's going to be a star, but I think he could be a solid starter in the league. So I'm going to take the under on the Spurs. I don't think it's going to be much again. I mean, 29 games is considered under, so I think they could win around 27 to 29 or less depending on injuries. So Pop's got some work cut out for him. I think the Spurs are going to go under.
I'm also going to take the under on the Spurs. I think Popovich is going to realize that they might be like another piece or two away, so he might just end up deciding to tank in general. I think Wembanyama is going to have a great rookie season. Looking like a generational player, and I'm excited to see what he does. I really like Devin Vassell. I think he's super underrated. I think he could be a great 2 option for the Spurs in general for the future. He's a great bucket getter, solid defender, decent playmaker as well. He kind of does it all. They also have some other young guys that look pretty promising. Jeremy Sohan, he looks pretty good. Kind of does like all the dirty work. He even played it.
Rodman, like just the way he
Because of
plays.
his hair?
Obviously his hair, but like literally his play style.
In a way, yeah.
Similar to
What
Rodman.
about his free throw form?
It works. It works.
Shoots better than Rodman, probably.
Yeah, and Sohan even can play make a little bit, which is always nice to have. I also really like Malachi Branham on that team. I think he's just a solid bucket getter you can have off the bench, and in the future of his career, maybe a 6th man. You never know, but I really do like some of their young guys, but I don't think they have a cohesive team like that yet. So I think they might end up deciding to tank again.
I think they both hit it on the nail. I don't really have complaints about this team's roster. They're just a bunch of unproven guys, and there's just no room for them to win games in the West. I mean, I like a lot of the guys, and they even have some decent, like, I don't know if you want to call Doug McDermott a vet yet. He could be a vet, but he's a solid
I call
vet.
him a vet. He's pretty
Yeah.
good.
He is a vet.
Jetty Osman, he's not a solid vet, but he was a decent little role player on the Cavs for a while. He's been around for a while. Like, they have guys who can show these young guys the way. But it's just, I think Keldon Johnson is a very good piece too.
Nice.
Pairing him up with Wemby, they have a good like big man duo and everything, but there's just really not room for them to be good at this point. But their future is bright as long as I really don't know how much longer Pop can coach. Like,
Yeah.
He's
getting up
He's
there.
going for the long run.
I just
One more
don't
chip.
see how-
He's got it in.
yeah, we'll see, dude. As long as he's the coach, there's a chance, dude. I think he's the greatest coach. So, but yeah, there's this season. I don't think there's any room for them to hit the over.
All right, we all agree on that one. End it off on a good note. That's the video for you guys today. Don't forget to dunk on that like button. Subscribe, because we know that you want to keep it real here on Full Court Press, baby. This is what we do. We know ball. We play ball. This is what we do, man. We're ready for anything that comes our way in the NBA. Until next time. Peace.